Hi friends and welcome back to my channel. Here are my most anticipated releases of 2025. These are books that are coming out in 2025 that I am insanely excited about. Many of these are 5-star predictions. Some of these I just feel I'm gonna have a good time with. 2025 is blessing us because all of my favorite authors are coming out with books and I'm so freaking excited. It's gonna be an epic year for me. I don't know about you, but it's gonna be an epic reading year for me because of this. So let's start with the one, the only, Mr. Bachman. His shelf is right here. He is releasing a book on May 20th called My Friends. What's interesting with this one for me, or at least like the general experience of this book being released, is that it's being released in English first, and there isn't actually a release date for the book in Swedish. If you don't know, Fredrik Backman is a Swedish author who writes his books in Swedish. I live in Sweden, I'm a Swede, I know Swedish. All of the books I've ever read by him have been in Swedish. My only experience of reading Backman in English is when I read his most recent short story called The Answer Is No. That one was only released in English on Amazon, so I read that one and I did enjoy it. I think I had an equally good experience reading him in English as I have had reading him in Swedish. But it's gonna be interesting to read a full-length novel by Fredrik Backman in English, because there's no way I'm waiting for the Swedish release, which might be like the second half of the year. I'm gonna read this book when it's released. I'm gonna buy it in English and I'm gonna read it in English. Only dilemma is if maybe I should read another one of his novels in English before then. Haven't quite decided on that yet. Let me know what you think. I feel like with some of his sentences, like some of his jokes, I'm not certain how that translates. I'm certain it translates well, that he has got a great publisher that are very true to his books when they translate them. I'm certain of that, but still. My Friends is a contemporary book, and it's about 4 teenagers and their friendship that 25 years later changes a stranger's life. I believe that the friends sort of end up in a painting together, and someone is determined to figure out the people in the painting's story. I don't really know a lot more than that, other than the fact that it's being released on May 20th. I will be reading it on that day, definitely. Second favorite author has her own shelf up here, it's one step up, and that is V.E. Schwab. She is releasing a new book. She is releasing Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil on June 10th. All I know about this is that it's a story taking place across centuries about lesbian vampires. So it's more fantasy, it's adult. I always say that V. Schwab is the author that got me back into reading with her Shades of Magic series. I have read not everything by her, but a lot. Lesbian vampires makes me think of the TV show that was based on her short story. So there is like an, what do you call it? Like anthology or short story collection about vampires, and she wrote a story for that called First Kill that later became a TV show on Netflix called First Kill, which was about a high school girl / vampire monster hunter and a vampire falling in love, becoming lovers. I liked it. I did enjoy it, and then Netflix cancelled it, just like they cancel so many other things we love. This is sort of giving me similar vibes, but that's because the main pitch for this so far is lesbian vampires. But it's gonna be interesting with the taking place across centuries part, because that has some similarities with Addie LaRue. I also follow V. Schwab on Instagram. She always speaks so much about the books that she's working on. She said something about this one, like being her bearing her soul or something like that. She calls it her whole heart. We'll definitely be reading it this summer. And then the third author amongst my top 3 authors releasing a book this year is R.F. Kuang, the author of the Poppy War series, Babel and Yellowface. I love all of those books. Poppy War is probably my favorite adult fantasy ever. And she is releasing a book on August 28th called Catabasis. This one is apparently within the subgenre of dark academia, and it's about a hero's descent to the underworld. 2 academic rivals from Cambridge must travel to hell to rescue the soul of their advisor. This one, honestly, I'm super excited about this. And I'm also a bit on the fence. I'm super excited because I always love a story with like characters going to hell or things like that. I think that's so intriguing. It's also giving a bit, I don't know why, but I'm thinking about that Jules Verne novella, Journey to the Center of the Earth. I don't know why. In my mind, I'm seeing it as an adventure. It's not gonna be, it's dark academia. And that's why I'm a bit on the fence. I have slowly learned that I don't think dark academia and gothic literature is necessarily for me. I occasionally struggle with it quite a bit. Like, I did not enjoy The Secret History, I have struggled with Dracula, I have struggled with Picture of Dorian Gray. So like dark academia, gothic literature, not always my thing. I did really enjoy Babel, which is another one of her like dark academia-esque books. There are so many quotes I actually really enjoyed in that one, but it was also quite heavy with all of the language research that went into it. There's a lot of footnotes in it. Like, it's very impressive that she did that, but it can be a bit of a slower and heavier read because of that. I am super excited about this, but I'm also like scared. Another author I have read a lot from, and I have given many of her books 5 stars, so I am honestly so excited for this as well. Taylor Jenkins Reid is coming out with a new book on June 3rd called Atmosphere. Taylor Jenkins Reid is famous for books such as The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Daisy Jones and the Six, Carrie Soto is Back. She writes romance really well, but she also writes celebrities, historical drama, the life of the famous very well, I would say. Atmosphere features the 1980s space shuttle program. It is said to be a historical read. The 80s were like 45 years ago now. I guess it's sort of historical, but for me historical is like Regency era. It's a historical novella about women in STEM, so we have some women in STEM representation, which I always appreciate, being that I myself is a woman within STEM subjects. Obviously about space. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really understand the description other than that, but I feel like that's a good summary, and we all know that I'm just gonna be a sucker for everything that Taylor Jenkins Reid comes out with. Now for some more general upcoming releases that I am very intrigued by. One more author I have read before who's coming out with a new book. Fonda Lee is releasing The Last Contract of Isako on October 9th. Don't really know much about this one either, other than the fact that it's a space opera inspired by samurai movies. Fonda Lee is the author of the Greenbone saga, meaning Jade City, Jade War and Jade Legacy, which I very recently finished. I think she is incredible and I am very intrigued to read more of her books, so this is going to be fun. Finally, amongst the known authors, an upcoming release that I don't think that many have missed is by Suzanne Collins. She is releasing Sunrise on the Reaping on March 18th, and this is a Hunger Games prequel. I believe this is about the 50th Hunger Games, and it's Haymitch's games. So the mentor for Katniss and Peeta is about his games. So that's gonna be really interesting. I know that many fans have wanted his story, and also I believe there were a double amount of participants in that year's Hunger Games. I'm excited. This is also an excuse for me to reread the Hunger Games before the release of this book, which I'm very excited about. I did read the other prequel that Suzanne published like 5 years ago now, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is about Cornelius Snow. Wasn't such a fan of that one, not gonna lie. I did like the movie quite a bit. I thought the movie was pretty darn great. The book was too slow and not interesting enough for me. I was bored. But I don't think I'm gonna be bored by Haymitch's games, because we like him as a character. I feel more optimistic about this one. And also, if I reread the books and get myself back into the Hunger Games universe before reading this one, I think that's gonna do me a favor. Let's talk about some other books coming out in 2025 that I'm just excited about. Haven't necessarily read these authors before. I have just been seeing these books around and they caught my eye. Cleopatra by Sarah L. Arifi is being released on September 11th, my birthday. I have not read anything by this author before, but I just feel very intrigued by the fact that this book is about Cleopatra. I have felt this urge to read more books featuring like Egyptian myths and retelling and stories. This is basically a retelling of Cleopatra as she became the pharaoh. That's all I know, and I'm excited enough about it. The Other Side of Now by Paige Harbison is being released on June 3rd. This is a story about a Hollywood actress that discovers the life that could have been on an impromptu trip to Ireland. So it's sort of like an alternate universe, alternate version of her life playing out. The Memory Collectors by Didi Meserve is released on May 20th. And this is a speculative mystery where you are able to spend 1 hour in your past. The Floating World by Axio is released on April 29th, and this one is pitched as Final Fantasy meets Shadow and Bone. It's a young adult fantasy. Don't really know much else about it. I have read Axio before. I read her XOXO book. Haven't read anything else by her yet, even though I want to, but I really enjoyed that one, and I feel interested in seeing what she can do with fantasy. I have never played Final Fantasy, but I have played plenty of Kingdom Hearts, so I feel like I sort of know Final Fantasy because the characters are featured in that game. Because of that, that pitch has got me hooked on this book, honestly. Like, I can't stop thinking about it. My Best Friend's Honeymoon by Meryl Wilsner is also being released on April 29th, and this is about two best friends on a non-refundable honeymoon. One of my favorite romances is The Unhoneymooners, so I feel like overall this is just a concept that is gonna fly with me. It's a female non-binary romance, which I think is great as well. And last one of upcoming releases that I wanted to talk about or mention, obviously there are plenty more. Just go on to my Goodreads and you will see everything I have put down as want to read. Too many books if I'm being honest. The last one I want to mention is Crash Landing by Annie McQuaid. This one is being released on April 1st, and it's about two exes that reunite when a plane crash leaves them stranded on a deserted island. I'm someone who loves a sort of tropical theme in my books, a tropical setting. I'm a fan of the TV show Lost. Why not? A romance on a deserted island. Could be fun. And there we have some of my anticipated releases for 2025, starting out with like 4 5-star predictions as well. Like Bachman, V. Schwab, R.F. Kong, and Taylor Jenkins Reid are definitely 5-star predictions. I would be surprised if those books were not 5 stars. I am very excited about the books coming out in 2025. There are definitely some backlist books that I'm still dying to get to and dying to pick up. I need to mention The Tainted Cup by Robert Bennett Jackson. I've been seeing that one everywhere lately, and I feel like that could definitely be my thing. It was released last year, but I've been hearing so many good things about it, so I'm super excited. So once I get the chance, once I'm allowed to purchase a new book, since I am, I guess, low-key, high-key, doing like a book buying game or low buy on books this year. Once I am allowed to purchase a book, I think that is gonna be my next pick, because I really want to get to that one. I just need to throw it out, that I'm excited about it, and that it is on my radar. Please let me know if I missed any exciting upcoming releases. I would love to hear about it. Or just let me know what you are looking forward towards in 2025. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Please take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye!